In this video, we are going to talk about the 5 steps that Mauricio Pochettino has to do for Chelsea next season to be successful as the new manager and to get Chelsea winning titles once again. Now, the first one, which should be quite obvious for anyone that's been following Chelsea this entire season, and that is to get rid of dead weight. Now, we've seen this club, it's completely bloated. We have way too many players, and there's players that obviously should not be at this club anymore. Ziyech being one of them, and again, I don't hate the guy, but he just needs to move on. It does not work at Chelsea anymore. He obviously wanted to leave during the January transfer window. There was issues with that. This player needs to leave the club. On top of that, Aubameyang, again, he came in for Thomas Tuchel. We let go of Thomas Tuchel, so therefore, again, it makes no sense to keep him as well. And I would even say Christian Pulisic. Now, there might be a few other players that we should get rid of as well, but those are the 3 players that most likely should be on their way out this summer, if not a lot more, because, again, we have a bloated squad. Now, number 2, after we get rid of the dead weight, the next obvious thing is our physio, our medical staff. This needs to be upgraded because we've been hit with so many injuries this entire season that we have to look at this and figure out what is going on with our medical staff, because with all the injuries we had this entire season, really did hit us hard. We had multiple players out in multiple games, which again made it very, very difficult for our squad to build off each other. And because of that, it made it very difficult for us to have a starting 11 each and every week. And then on top of that, Shield right now is actually going to be missing the beginning of next season because of an injury. So therefore, again, we need to look at our medical staff, make sure we're doing the right protocols to make sure our players are fully fit and fully healthy, so that way we can kind of reduce our injuries. Now, again, I understand injuries are going to happen throughout the season. That's just the way it is. But to have as many as we had this past season was quite ridiculous. So again, Pochettino needs to look at this and make sure, again, they're doing the right things to make sure that our players stay fully fit for as long as they can this upcoming season. Now, on top of that, for number 3, kind of builds off that I was kind of saying it, and that is team chemistry. Our chemistry is at an all-time low right now, and that's partly because of 1, which again, we need to get rid of dead weight, but also partly because number 2, we have so many injuries. We haven't been able to have a full squad to build off each other. I can't even remember how many players we've rotated in our top third with Kai Havertz as our number 9. And because of that, they can't get a rhythm going each and every week because they don't know who they're going to be playing with. They don't know what those players are going to be doing for run-wise, pass-wise, defensive-wise. So again, it makes it very, very difficult for our team to, again, have this motivation to play better, to know what those players are going to do, and to look like a solid unit, which again, if that was the case, we wouldn't be dealing with these issues because, like I said, you watch teams in and out. Liverpool, for example, yes, they had some injuries, but once they fully got back in the right direction, they stuck with the core group of 11. Yes, and granted, I still understand they have a few injuries, but sticking with that starting 11, they started winning games and pushed back for top 4. Now, I don't think they're going to finish in the top 4, but still, it shows you how team chemistry can make a massive difference. Now, number 4, this ties into 2. So again, you could say 4A and 4B, but really this comes down to the youth squad itself and what Pochettino has to do with our youth squad, getting them fully fit and ready for the Premier League next season, because this squad is fairly young. We went out, bought a bunch of young players to, again, have future success in the Premier League and also in other competitions, but really, Pochettino has to work with these players and get them going in the right direction. He also has to work in the mentality, which is the 4B, because these young players, their minds can be all over the place right now. So again, Pochettino having the capability of doing it before with younger players at Tottenham, he has to make sure he harnesses this potential, the mentality for these players, and get them going in the right direction. Because like I said, if they do not have the right mindset, the right mentality, it's going to be very, very difficult all season long to get these guys going in the right direction, because as we all know, especially when it comes to strikers, but even any player out on the pitch, if you are not having the right mentality, you are going to struggle on the pitch. We've seen this again time and time when players aren't there mentally wise and they make mistakes, and that causes issue for the starting 11, and again causes errors which lead to goals, which lead to Chelsea dropping points, which again cannot happen next season. So Pochettino has to make sure he works on that. And then the last one, number 5, is the players that we need to bring in. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth of what players we need to bring in because I've talked about this before. There are a few positions. You can go and watch my other videos on this, but there's 3 key positions that we need to look at for keeping this team fully fit and getting them playing top-notch football, and that is, one, our goalkeeper. We need to upgrade our goalkeeper. Kepa, I greatly appreciate what he's done at this club, but again, we need to upgrade to a better goalkeeper who is going to have a better opportunity to block shots from outside the 18. Granted, some of those goals that he did let were world-class shots, but still, there were multiple games where he should have been making those stops and just did not happen. And we know Mendy's not going to be here next season, so again, it makes sense that we need a goalkeeper. Next on that list, we also need a defensive midfielder. Again, we've talked about this time and time again, so you can go back, watch those videos. I've talked about some of the players that I'm looking forward to possibly bringing in, and I still think Calvin Phillips could be a great option. Now, again, you may hate on that because he hasn't started for Manchester City, but still, even against our match against Manchester City, we saw how good Kevin Phillips is, and the guy, again, deserves some starting time. He's playing behind Rodri, who arguably is the best defensive midfielder in the world. So again, it's not too surprising that he's not getting playing time. But like I said, if he were to play for Chelsea, I think him and Enzo Fernandez would be a great fit. He has played Premier League. Obviously, he's a champion. He won with them this season, but still, even when he played for Leeds, he was a great player, can play those long balls, very good defensively, and he gets the call up from England all the time, even though he hasn't been playing. So obviously, there's some to this player that a lot of people aren't seeing besides maybe Pep Guardiola. So that would be a great option, but again, we'll have to look around for that position. And then lastly, which again, we all know about, is the striker situation. And again, I'm not too sure what Pochettino is going to do with that one. There are a few options out there. We obviously have a few players in our squad too that could possibly fit that role. I know there's been rumors with Harry Kane possibly coming to Chelsea. I highly doubt that's going to happen, but still, we need to bring a striker in or get one of our strikers up and running full fit. Broja being one of those options, but still, we have to fit that role because if we do not going to score goals, not going to win games, and going to be in the exact same situation we were this season. So, that are my 5 steps for Pochettino and what he needs to do next season to get Chelsea in the right direction, winning trophies and possibly competing for the Champions or for the Premier League title. And therefore, again, if he can incorporate all 5 of these things, I think he's going to have a great season. I don't know how far Chelsea can go next season with these young players, but again, the future is very bright as long as we do all these steps. So that's all I have for you today. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate that, and I will see you in our next video.